Good evening, everybody, and welcome down to Tech Talk Friday. It is the 18th of June, Friday, and unfortunately, we're still on MCO. But key thing is, everybody, please stay safe. Please stay safe. That's the most important thing. We all need to do our part to fight this so that we can get back to semblances of what our life was and perhaps improve because we have digitalized so much during this MCO period. And if you haven't gotten yourself vaccinated, get yourself vaccinated. I have. I hope all of y'all have too. So on this Friday of June, we are, of course, going to go into the world of tech and especially the world of tech in Malaysia. And today is going to be a little special because we only have one guest on center stage. And we're going to be, I don't want to say grilling, but we're going to be talking to him today and just finding out what has been going on in his very unique space. So I hope you guys are already joining us on the stream, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. And remember, this show is as much about all of you out there than it is about me and my equal host, which I'm going to introduce in a short while, talking to our guests. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment area, whether it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. When we see it, we'll pop it up on the screen and we will ask our guest the question. And some of y'all actually went ahead and already actually messaged us on both Facebook, Twitter as well with some questions. And let's see if we have a chance to bring up those questions later on during the stream. And to let everybody know that Tech Talk Friday is brought to you by Necole. So if all of y'all want to start right now to accelerate your future, your skills, your career, get on to Necole, go to Necole.app. You see the link right over there. Get subscribed. You can either choose 3 months or a year. And right now, because you're joining us on the stream, you'll see on the crawler below, there is a promo code for all of y'all to get a 30% discount today. And the promo code being a Roshan T Lead 30. All right. So use that promo code and get 30% discount. Now, as always, when we start this show, we look at Digital News Asia's pick of the week, and the man who's going to actually bring us through it and also be the equal host of the show is Karamjit Singh. Huyo. Apa ni? Why? My head is still too shiny, is it?
No, because last week Cradle's Rafiza one-up me and she had her shades ready for the show. So
you wanted to be ready as well.
I'm just wondering if Dr. Rais, he's watched the show and he's got his shades ready. I've got mine ready this week. I won't be caught with my pants down 2 weeks in a row.
Hey, mine count. Mine is transition lenses. So, boleh tukar punya.
Yours got no. Yours is vanilla lah. No character.
I see. I need UV light here. Then this will turn color. Baru betul. Okay, Karam. Let's do this. We've got your pick of the week from Digital News Asia here. Someone's laughing at this already. Yes.
Yeah, laughing at you. I say you're vanilla.
Doesn't matter.
Don't be so mean, Liliana. Don't be so mean to him.
It's okay, Liana. Whether you laugh at me or with me, as long as you laugh, I'm happy. Made that rhyme as well. So, Karam, the pick of the week is actually a combination story that you have here, right? And the first story here is Malaysian Digital's first pet insurance startup, Oyen, raises US 420K seed funding. And the other one is actually something interesting because I actually saw some students when I was doing a facilitation session come up with ideas like this. But this is probably going to be very key. Egotopia raising US 2 million via ECF to strengthen first mover advantage as the world's first VR travel agency. So what are these two stories about? Why are they combined together? Okay. What's the link here?
No, because actually, so the one on the Kevin Hong and Oyen, which is the digital first pet insurance, is because and of course Igotopia. So these are both startups, and you've got the My Digital game plan to try to create 5,000 startups by 2025. Mm-hmm. And and MDEC has been probably the one government agency that has been supportive of My Digital the most. With their executives regularly mention it. Dr. Rais also regularly mentions it. Mm-hmm. So but I want to just ask, when Rais comes on also, how does MDEC help startups like this, and especially specifically because we've got that target of trying to achieve a handful of unicorns also, right? By the same time period. So you've got a big, hairy, audacious goal. And I'm wondering whether this is something that MDEC is now taking on to say, what else can we do to help them achieve this, mythical state, so that in a way we get the monkey off our backs, right? So we don't have a unicorn in this country yet. So curious to ask him, and this because Kevin Hong is an executive who was formerly with some of the large tech companies in the world. So he's picked up the art and the way of how to build a startup. And raising almost 1.8 million ringgit at the seed level is a fantastic achievement. And I like the scale of his intention also, right? They want to insure 100,000 pets insured in Southeast Asia within the next 3 years. And they want to be the leading company in this category in Southeast Asia. Fantastic intention by him. And you move over to now iGotopedia, which is coincidentally a former middle-level manager at MDEC, is one of the investors who came into it. And iGotopedia is interesting because you got Kevin Hong from OYN, which is a Malaysian entrepreneur with his co-founder there, Michelle. They're co-founders. Here you've got a bunch of non-Malaysians who've chosen to locate their company based in Malaysia, and they want to try to build a unicorn. So Matthew Basing, and those who know him, the glass is always half full and never half empty. Is that kind of mentality. And he says that, hey, we want to aim to be one of the unicorns that the government is aiming for through My Digital. And I want to ask, how is MDEC going to help guys like this who are showing a scale of ambition which normally Malaysian entrepreneurs don't show, or Malaysian-based entrepreneurs don't show, and they're already raising a good amount of money. They're on ECF, and I'm told that they're going to cross their maximum. They're looking to raise between 4 million to 8 million, and they're close to getting that 8 million already, right? That's 2 million US. So doing on their own well in terms of funding, and they claim to be the world's first a VR-based digital, a travel agency. So you've got this scale of ambition there, and that's why I wanted to highlight these two companies, and I want to see whether what Rais thinks. And by the way, for all of you listening, Rais does not know what questions I'm going to ask him, except for one question, because he kind of knows, but he doesn't know. So it's totally unscripted and unplugged. Okay.
This one is cowboy toy and tech, so we are going to just gun it and see what happens. Okay, thanks for filling us in on that, Karam.
Yep.
So if everybody else, you want to actually check out the stories and read it in full, drop by Digital News Asia and check out these two stories. We'll put the links in the comments area, whether it's in LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. Go over, check it out. And now I think it's time to bring on the guest. Karam has already spoiled it, Kau already, and already told you guys multiple times who the guest is going to be. And this is probably the only time I'm going to address him in full, because during the prep show, he was actually telling us, please do not be very formal with me and call me by my name. But ladies and gentlemen, we are actually going to have with us MDEC's chairman, Datuk Wira Dr. Rais Hussin, on the show. So can we bring him on? He is our chairman of MDEC, and he's potentially had a very eventful year. So let's speak to him and let's hear from him. Rais, are you there?
He's coming.
Yes.
Don't worry. Hold on.
Yes, I'm here.
Itu dia. Okay, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard this ship called Tech Talk.
Thank you for having me here again.
No problem.
at all.
You are a repeat guest. So, Rais, you have achieved. In football parlance, you've achieved a hat trick, right? You are the most interesting chairman MDEC has ever had. You are the most transparent also, because you've met with people, because of they send something out on Twitter, and then you say, come in and talk to me. You've shown that openness which no chairman has come close to. And of course, then to wrap it up, to put the chili padi, you're also the most controversial. But not in my mind, but to some people out there who are quite vocal now, you're controversial. So, and of course, you had an eventful 1 year. And when you came on to our show last year, you said your goal, your ambition is to be the Karipap chairman. So this show is to find out, when do you think you can become that, your ideal status of chairmanship, But until you become that, right now there's some questions that I want to throw at you for you to answer. For all of you, please go and read the article on DNA and anywhere else, who was smart enough to carry the article. Rais wrote the article about his 1 year anniversary as MDEC chairman, by 4 phases and very sequential, beautifully done. And Rais actually has been writing for me when I was with my previous publication, The Edge, since like 2005. And in journalism parlance, there's this thing called he writes as smoothly as as a knife slicing through soft butter. So it means that he writes effortlessly and beautifully. I wish I had his writing flair, which I don't. But my point is, read the article. It's very well done. All the things he wants to do. So my first question to you, Rais, is that you always talk about Malaysia 5.0. And it feels like you are the only one, Rais, talking about it. And I can understand that, Malaysia 5.0 means you want to humanize the role of technology being adopted by society and making sure it's inclusive, fantastic ideals. But do you really need to keep harping on this Malaysia 5.0 when nobody else has bought into it and they feel it's important? Without Malaysia 5.0, MDEC is still going to do its job, right? And do its job probably well with you running it very well. So why? And there's concern that you're caught up in it too much, and I would like you to answer that first.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Thank God I cannot blush because I have a permanent tan, so I can't really blush. But having said that, I need to say that Malaysia 5.0 has gotten its right traction. Why? If you remember, the Minister of Communication and Multimedia in his New Year message, he specifically mentioned about Malaysia 5.0. The Prime Minister himself have mentioned about Malaysia 5.0. And I think our Surina Shukri, the CEO, and also various executives in MDEC in various levels have spoken about Malaysia 5.0. Malaysia 5.0 is not a dream. Malaysia 5.0 is a journey that we need to embark upon, to undertake upon. Let me tell you why. Now look at the Japanese Society 5.0. When I had a good conversation with the Japanese ambassador in Malaysia, when we presented, we spoke on Society 5.0, I spoke about Malaysia 5.0, and he was quite taken aback, said, wow, Malaysia 5.0 have something that the Society 5.0 doesn't have. Okay. And I was asking him, what is it about? And then he said, you talked about transforming education, blah, blah, blah. And I told them, look, in Japan, you don't need to transform education because you have an exemplary education system. And right from the preschool to primary to tertiary and so on. But we do need. And again, the Society 5.0 is not just been adopted and we are trying to adopt to Malaysian context, but has been adopted in Germany, in Scandinavian countries, and many other countries successfully. So I think this is not an utopian dream. It is actually a journey that we need to start. Now, talking about traction, everything. We recently had our new Chief Strategy Officer, Datuk Fazli. And this guy is actually one of the senior partners from KPMG. Okay. And he has undertaken to join. I mean, MDEC has amazing talents, and we have also acquired, seriously amazing talents, and one being even as recent as just 1 or 2 days ago in the area of Islamic fintech, and one more coming, inshallah, next month, the Chief Innovation and Technology Officer. So I think this is a work in progress, and if you talk about 1 year, I think that's very important. What has happened in 1 year? The article did talk about the 4 phases, but critically, when I first came, my idea was come up with this inclusive, digitally integrated society with proper eco-environmental principles and practices. That was from day one. But when I first came and I saw, wow, there's a lot of work to be done before that. You cannot set a sail without making sure that the ship has a proper sail, proper fuel, proper sailors and all, and that.
Proper crew, yeah. Okay.
Yes. So we need to get these things done first. So the phase one was basically understanding. Believe it or not, on the first week, I received 623 emails from public. And they send, and mind you, I read all the 623 emails, and then I requested, I have a think tank called ML Research, and I requested them to do an analysis, a qualitative, quantitative research. And about 7 or 8 emerging themes came about. Then I said, let's wait on the Malaysia 5.0. We need to get these things done properly
No,
first.
but right, sorry, when these things came up, right, wouldn't the first thing you do is go and see the CEO and say, hey, what's going on here, right?
Oh,
You've been
okay.
in charge in January. Why are these issues coming up? I
Okay,
assume you would have done that.
That's a good question. Again, what happened was immediately when I saw that emerging teams report, the qualitative quantitative report, then I interviewed. I sat down with every single 17 SLTs. At that time, they used the word senior leadership team, right?
Yeah.
17 of them. So we had a very enlarged Majlis Raja Raja here, because when you have 17 kings and 17 palaces, it's not easy, when and then the palaces is circumambulated with the crocodiles and sharks, and they have their own territories, so essentially the silos, right? So I spoke to them specifically, and I received 17 different versions of MDEC. And then I said, okay, this is a problem. It's not Houston, we have a problem. Putrajaya, we have a problem.
Yeah,
Cyberjaya, we have a problem. So, okay, what's next? So I knew that we need some reinforcement. I need some help and so on. Good is that, yes, Surina Shukri has done a good job. Yes, she has been there much earlier. But given the circumstances of systems at place at that time, the limits of authority at that time, which was quite laissez-faire and stops at a particular level, it didn't go up to her. So that was a continuous problem, right? So I think before embarking on a journey, we need to make sure the vehicle is properly prepared. So that's exactly what we did. So what we did, we call upon KPMG to do one of the emerging themes in that thing was the governance and integrity issue. So we called them to do a holistic governance sweep in MDEC, and they did. They did laboriously, and when we came, when the report came out, there was 120 recommendations. 120 recommendations that we need to do. And immediately we started acting on that. So that's basically the phase one. Phase two, we then got in the board to restructure the board a little bit. We need people who go beyond eating curry puff. So we need people who have, industry expertise, wherewithal, they want to do it, and they have the time to do it. Remember, board of directors are not paid heftily. My allowance in the light of radical transparency, 8,000 ringgit per month. I think Karamjit knows what I was earning back in 1998. So you say it's nothing, 8,000 ringgit. But so we need people not only have that skill, knowledge, abilities, more importantly, passion, passionate about doing something good for the country. And this is digital economy we're talking about. So we've got very, very good guys, some governance specialists. We got Peter Farouk, who is the chief for entire AXA Global Network. We got Irene. We got Dr. Desi, who sits in the Mitsubishi Center for. So we got good people. So we restructured the board, and the board has a new, including technology innovation. Some people cannot understand that, but we needed that because all this while, in the interest of radical transparency, all this while, we've been event managers, and getting things done just been thrown at us, and we do it. So now we have good board. Now we need to, of course, there about the time that the KPMG thing is ongoing. EY was doing it a little bit earlier. We face some resignations, but the resignations comes and go. I mean, in any organization, people resign, people go for a variety of reasons. And then at the same time, we are attracting amazing talents. I think some of you, Nigesh, Aiza, Datuk Fazli, these are great guys, great guys and girls are coming in, and they want to be part of this journey. So that happened. So that phase 3 was implementing those 120 recommendations. That's going to be very challenging because remember, I inherited 24 years of a culture that has been embedded. So bukan senang. It's
Not
not
yet.
easy.
So, but Rais, when you say bukan senang, you only got one more year to go because you said that. So, don't worry if Rais freezes because MDECs are cost cutting, so they're squeezing the bandwidth of the chairman's room also. Okay, or they're afraid he'll be too
Right.
transparent. So I know there's
Karam.
something going on. You
I
talk
have to
about
use
that.
the
You talk about the
politically.
The crocodiles are in action now, man. They're snipping away at the cable.
It's
Karam, you
No,
have to use
seriously,
the.
right?
You have to
Sorry,
use
Nigesh. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I
actually
was saying you have to
it's,
use the politically correct term, rationalizing costs.
Okay.
actually
So, but
it was working all well. I think
Mm.
it's just Murphy's law.
yeah, no
But having
problem.
but having
Murphy's law.
said but having said that just now, so we need to implement that, right? So the most important thing is that to create a system, right? It's, something that everyone knows how to get things done and so on. So that's where when we had this limits of authority, which was too laissez-faire. If I tell you this, if a head of a department been allocated budget approved in the board for 198 million, or to say 200 million ringgit, if I tell you that the previous limits of authority allows the head of a department to actually repurpose 50% of the budget without going back to the board, would you believe me?
Oh
Wow.
wow! I mean, that's a job. That's a job I want to have, man.
Yeah, but I don't think so. You are a man of integrity. So what happened is, you know what happened was when I saw all these things, and KPMG was very direct, and they were telling me, boss, this is something that we need. Then that's when we had a discretionary authorization limit. That was the phase 3. So we brought in that system and so on. The
But
fourth
right, sorry,
phase.
that system very important because you also in your article you mentioned, and I was quite surprised that, and you're open about it, is that you are also doing measures to recoup funds, right? And including reporting to the relevant authorities and taking legal action. So, how many such cases have you instituted, and do you really think you can claw back some of the money?
I think we have reported to by way of investigation to MACC, and they are making their own investigation. Maybe I'm not too privileged to comment on what is going on there, but that is what they're doing. But whatever that has happened, there are two ways. One, we can sit down and go back and talk about it and trying to do something about it. And the problem is, unfortunately, I have not invented flux capacitor. You know what's a flux capacitor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Back to the future.
If I can have the flux capacitor, anyone else have it, I can go back in time and try to do something about it. But now it's happened, and to do and go back and on this issue is going to be so moving forward. So how do we shape that? We want to put in a proper system. Now we have amazing talents. MDEC, by the way, I mean, contrary to popular belief, the some senior managers, senior management, even before, and the middle managers and the lower managers, they are fantastic people. They are amazing people. Only that they were not given latitude.
Empowerment lah. Okay.
Yeah, latitude and empower. Basically, you jangan cakap banyak lah, dengar lah apa saya suruh buat. That kind of thing. That was the problem. So here now, they are empowered. There's one guy who's very, very young. He has been empowered and has helped a lot with the farmers, with the agri-tech initiative and so on. And that guy is not even a senior manager, So what I'm trying to say is that there are good people here. And there's amazing talents that have joined us recently. And I think together with the proper system, the next step is digitalization. I usually joke among the management team here, maybe MDEC should apply for smart automation grant because it looks like we need to digitize first. You see,
that is terrible that you all are so far behind in being an adopters yourself. But Rais, before you go on to that, you keep talking about your amazing talent, and there is some disquiet among industry leaders also that the senior leadership team is too stacked now. There's too many people and it seems like roles are overlapping. And I commented when you brought in that ex-Asia guy chap, right, to be your chief transformation officer, because it seems like you are that chief transformation officer and Surina should be holding that role also. And everyone who's coming is mandated to transform. So do you need someone else to be officially hold the role? And also now you just brought in this lady, right? Let me see, your what? Fintech. She's running the fintech unit, and what struck me about hers, and I shared on LinkedIn, there was not to be, and totally do not mean to demean or to cast anything on anyone, but you look at the skill set of the person and versus the role that needs to be executed, it just seems a total mismatch. And then I'm thinking back, if we are so strong as leaders in the Islamic digital economy, 8 years number one, right? How come the talent pool isn't good enough that you could find someone who's much more aligned with your needs? Because what you need for yours is a very entrepreneurial driven, role, right? Somebody who has to help small people. Whereas you see her expertise is all big companies coming, asking for rating agencies, all big companies, or no small company comes and asks. And it seems that just a mismatch. And my concern there is that then they cannot do the job properly, So that's why I put the comment that it feels like you're trying to force a square peg into a round hole. So, maybe you can comment on her particular, why you felt her skill set suited. And related to that, and a bigger question everybody wants to know, two-part question. 1 year from now, Rais, how do we measure how effective all these people have been? Because I don't want to just get a big picture, a press conference, or right? For each of these people, how does society, how do taxpayers measure each of them 1 year from now, whether they've moved the needle or not? And if they haven't, what is the plan to accelerate?
Okay. Well, let me address in two parts. Number one, you must know that none, N-O-N-E, none of the people that we have hired so far in MDEC is someone that I know before. None, N-O-N-E.
Wow.
Number one. Number two, every one of them went through a very, very diligent process of recruitment, i.e., the human capital, the department, the CEO herself, and then BRNC, and then finally, I will also have a look and to see the Islamic digital economy is something that is very close to my heart.
Yeah,
It is about $3 trillion global market, addressing 2.2 billion people, the Muslim community at large. So when we interviewed few of them. And what we realized in the past, the skill set was more of event management, administration. There is no vision, no directions, and so on and so forth. In her, when I was talking to her, I asked, okay, what do you want to do? You want to be part of this amazing journey that we are undertaking? What would you be? So she presented a very wholesome, holistic view. She knows the stuff. And I think from the candidates that we have interviewed, and I think she will be able to do her job very well. She has a right knowledge base and right attitude. Remember, attitude determines altitude. So that is also important. And gung-ho about it. Just like Aiza, just like I always talk about Surina because now we've been working together for some time, more than a year. And yes, when we started off, there's always the process of understanding each other. And she came from one set of the way things were working, and I came as a disruptor, so to speak. So, but then once the KPMG report is out, once we see the changes are required, the need for the change, I think all of them are aligned to get things done. Of course, in terms of performance, each and every one of them will be having KPI. I must admit, previously our KPIs are quite laissez-faire as well. So now we have somebody called a performance manager under the Human Capital Development. Nazral is the Human Capital Development Director. These guys are all great guys. These are new guys, right? And they are looking at a fresh perspective from the industry perspective, not macam dulu lah. So it's no more too much of a curry puff meeting here these days. They are more action-oriented, specifics, and so on. So I think the team that we have assembled, and there's one more guy to join us, subject to the board's approval next Friday, and that will complete the team in terms of driving MDEC to the next level. Now, having said that, obviously as you rightly put, my contract is another 1 year because it's a 2 year term.
Yeah.
Now, I do not believe I have to be here for 2 years.
Wow.
And to me, once the system is in place, the people are there. One other important thing that we are embarking upon now to get it done is the digitalization. I was talking about the
Yes.
digitalization, right?
I
We
so
do not-
rudely interrupted you. Sorry.
when the tender, like for instance, not rudely, boss. I think interestingly. So when you have the tender, the tender is at the point of submission.
Okay.
Everything else is manual.
Oh,
So
they call this hybrid. They'll call this hybrid system.
I don't think it's hybrid. Hybrid put 90% manual, 99% manual, 1% E. So these are the things that we are going to. Wait, boss, these days we have AI-enabled
Yeah,
procurement
correct.
stuff.
Yeah.
We have AI-enabled tendering system. We have AI-enabled even visa. I mean, you want to apply for US visa? Do you go and do whatever you're doing now? No, tada, it's all fantastic. So is it rocket science? No. So the new team plus the amazing teams that left, stayed with us,
Yep.
and they're working together. This every day. I know we are MCO, and today I had a meeting with the chief strategy officer, Datuk Fazil, and an analyst, Ryan, and we had quite a long chat today on how to get things done. So you see, it is building. My belief is that I don't have to be here for another year. I have to be. You see, we build institution.
Yeah.
We build institution. We build system. We build institution. So long those things are there, it should work. It must work. Just like when Klopp builds his Liverpool team with the gegenpress intensity, he gets the right players, right?
Yeah.
Nigesh, you agree, right? Forget
Yeah.
about the Manchester City guy. So what I'm trying to say is that we just build the system, and I believe that I think once we embark and get this digitalization done, mostly on the shelf thing done, then I think it is time for a new chairman.
Okay,
Right,
but
right.
quickly, Rais, I want to know again. My question was, how do all of us measure, these people after 1 year? Because you say they got KPIs, and it's always puzzling that nobody shares the KPI. Will there be a press conference, 1 year from now to state, okay, this role, right? This is what they've done. They missed it by 10-15%, or why, or they exceeded it.
Okay.
I think people really want to know that, because there's so much interest in MDEC now, because there's an urgent need, right? And Rais, you also mentioned once that for the first time you feel that Vietnam is overtaking us, and I tell you, when one entrepreneur who's in charge of his industry association had a dinner in 2019 with a deputy DG of a government agency, and he was asked about, hey, what do you think of the ecosystem? He said that Vietnam is catching up with us. He told me that he was scolded by the deputy DG because he could not accept that a communist country how can you say a communist country is on par or catching up with Malaysia? But you have been saying that now, and I love it, because there's that sense of urgency and a bit of fear also, right? And disbelief. So the role of all these people becomes even more important, right? Because they are the front, they are the tip of the spear, like Yasmin Mahmood used to say, right? Again, I'm repeating, how do we measure how effective were they in this role? Because they're all not earning karipap salaries, right? Big salaries that put them in the top 2% of Malaysians earning salaries. So we have a right to know, how do we measure all of them? Because I want all of them to be uncomfortable sitting down, hey man, I got to work 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is a mandate, right? A sacred mandate. I think Yasmin used to say, yeah, amanah, right? This is an amanah, not a tanggung jawab, not a kerja also. So how do we measure them? Because I'm still not getting an answer to that, and I'm getting frustrated by that. Because then you're dodging and weaving like Muhammad Ali here now.
And Rais, before you answer,
Muhammad
before
Ali is
you-
very fast, boss. But let me
Yes.
tell you this: I'm not dodging. I was about to say that. Remember, we've got the performance manager in, and we've had for many years certain KPIs, and the way the KPIs. When I looked at the KPI in a few board meetings, when the management presenting the KPIs, I have actually, and most of the board members disagreed with the KPIs because the KPIs are basically it's not very clear, and people are not very clear, and whether the KPI is pushing us towards what we need to do. So this performance manager guy, and together with the new HCD, they are entasked, and each and every one of them, at least the top leaders, they must have deliverables, very, very specific deliverables. Why? Why do you think they? Because if it's just like, okay, let's talk about a plan, right? A plan must have a clear goal, a clear objective, a clear KPIs, which is SMART, which is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, time-bound. Now, that is how it's going to be. So that is the mandate that's been given to HCD. I must admit, I spoke to each and every one of them in MDEC, 439 people.
Wow.
Each and every one of them in a group of 40 to 50, explaining what we were doing. Why DAL? Why the need for change? Some of them, they did not know why the need for the change. Because, again, we did not share the entire report of the KPMG with everyone, right? But the ministers have it. The shareholder minister have it, which is the finance minister. The communication multimedia minister has it. Some senior managers have it. Senior management team have it. But we did not share it with each and every one. It will be very, very disheartening. So the work is in progress. Now we have the new chief strategy officer who knows what really strategy means, and what does it mean by executable strategy. And I told them we can have big concepts like Amana, can have the spear, this and that, but if we do not have something that is measurable, something that is executable, then tak apa. So, without dodging your question, I'm telling you that the performance manager team is working, the HCD is working on this. And when they talk to me about year 2020 KPI, I say, apa dia year 2022, apa KPI? Most of you work from home, apa KPI? 2021, apa KPI? So it's going to be very, very challenging. You must understand, G and Nigesh, all these things is happening at the background of MCO, CMCO, FMCO, EMCO, I don't know, whatever other alphabet. And we could not have all the team. In building a new culture, the team has to work together, right? To be in a environment. So it's not easy. Work from home has advantages, yes, but the disadvantage is that when you want to affect changes, the culture is like, hey, I am still working from, those kind of things. So this is something that I'm going to be focused on. First thing is the digitalization, which is very important. I hope to get this thing done in the next 1 or 2 months. And then on the KPI thing for moving forward. Then I'm done.
Rais, one more quick one before Nigesh has a lot of questions there. Earlier I gave the example of those 2 startups. How does MDEC have a plan to engage with some of our more promising startups? And you gauge promising by the amount of money they raise, because raising money is not easy, right? So the 2 examples I gave you there, one is at the early stage, but the other is like raising $2 million and got Tuan Haji Baharudin, right, the founder and the key mover behind Upin Ipin, right, Lekopak, putting in his own money, 3 million ringgit. Fantastic. Not easy to get money out of him. He's invested in them at the angel level. And actually, they're going to have a talk at 8 o'clock stream live. So maybe if you've got time, you can listen in also. So they've done something interesting. Are you all saying that we're going to try to help them in a different way? Or you say there's enough people helping them and we are focusing on all the things you mentioned?
You see, in terms of priority, of course, we have a lot of things that we need to do. Supporting and providing and enabling a right ecosystem for startups is important. I'm quite vociferous in publicly with regards to the ecosystem that we are losing out to China, and I prayed to God that we will not one day lose to Papua New Guinea and Laos. So I did say that, right? It's not kidding, right? And so I'm with it. But having said that, at this point of time, given the current ground realities, you're absolutely right. Accessing funds are not going to be easy. And that's why, for instance, when we have our grants, our whatever funds that is available, I tell the team, please make sure the funds, whatever that is available, some is small, some is up to 5 million, 6 million. Please make sure it is disbursed after fulfilling all the criteria, condition precedent set, and it is done in a proper governance, adhere to the proper governance. So I think this ecosystem is very important, G. But as you know, even when we talk about the recovery and so on, the government is initiating some recovery and some initiatives and so on. At this point of time, I've not seen it in clearly. But this ecosystem, if we do not support, we should not allow another Grab. Because Grab is all organic Malaysian. Then it went off to Singapore.
Yeah.
So I think we should. But again, please allow me to complete this exercise that we've just finished, and the digitization that is going to be critical. The KPI, I think Nigesh talked about public think tanks access this for radical. I agree. These things, there should not be any hush-hush. Remember I told you last time, we had 37 websites. Why do we need 37 websites? Apple, Apple, the small company, very, very small company, they only have one website. So don't tell me we are bigger than Apple. So that's the thing. So it is work in progress. The ecosystem is very critical, without which we will have a big problem.
Right. So maybe just to expand on the question from David Leo there, and this is what I was wondering as well when you were talking about it, Rais. So essentially the practice you're going through is cleaning up shop and setting the stage and setting the system in order to move forward. And yes, we've been talking about all these things that are being done, and perhaps the question that David was trying to get at is, MDEC is in the public eye, and I've known about MDEC since I was a kid as well. So I'm the youngest in the group here. So it is something the public is also very, very interested about, and they want to know what's going on. They want to know what is the accountability and how the accountability is being upheld, and what are the numbers behind it. So maybe, as you were saying, you are going through the process right now, but in your mind, how are you going to make this information more publicly available so that everybody knows what MDEC is doing and how MDEC is doing?
I think it is David's question is, I'm totally for radical transparency, and I think we should allow this. We must allow these KPIs to be on our website, so that people can access it and look at it, and can comment and can even embellish it. Hey, you are sandbagging it. This is such a easy KPI. How can you improve it? I agree with all that. In fact, before this, even when we talk about grant announcement and all that, it was just selective captive groups. Now it comes out on the Twitter, Facebook, and so on. I think Raymond, the BSP guy, brand strategy guy, have done a wonderful job. And why wonderful? Because his outreach. Dulu MDEC tak ada sangat a lot of outreach, right? Now we have outreach for many, not for few. It is not for just Damansara and Bangsa crowd. By the way, one of a senior team who used to work here actually told me, Dato, why you're wasting time reaching out from Perlis to Sabah? We are supposed to talk to the Bangsa Damansara crowd. I say, how wrong you are. How wrong you are.
Totally.
How bloody wrong, excuse my language, wrong you are. Perlis to Sabah is where everywhere. Then I said, can you please explain to me digital inclusiveness? What does that mean? Can you explain to me how do you reduce income inequality using digital inclusion? Jangan cakap saja. We must live. We must walk the talk. So we need to outreach. That's why when we started on the agri-tech, boss, that created yield per acre 33% more than before using fertilization.
Correct.
Income 22%. We used we achieved the digital inclusion, and we bridged the income inequality issues.
But
So I
Rais, I want to challenge you to come up with a different anecdote, because this seems to be your favorite anecdote and you keep repeating the same one. By right, when you've seen it work somewhere else, you should easily replicate it with other, somebody doing brinjals or whatnot, or chapati,
yes,
flour. I love
yes,
chapati,
yes.
no flour. We don't grow flour in Malaysia, but just different example. Don't use the same example. I
Okay.
challenge you on that.
We have 7 proof of concept. Chili
Right.
is one of them. We have pineapple. We have shrimp farming, chicken farming, and all has been proven. We have validated, independently proof of concept. Now, one of the problems that getting the AI's enabled fertigation system or getting an AI enabled technology system is relatively easy.
Yep.
Duit ada semua boleh dapat. But financing, how? So we then engage with the bank. So try to go and ask for a loan from the bank. Bank gives money for those people who don't need it.
Yeah.
So that's typical. Farmers need the money. So to go to the bank will always mitigate their risk.
Yes, of
This,
course.
that, apa semua. But we managed to do that engagement with the banks. Like I think one of the banks was CIMB.
Yes.
From no money allocated for this, we got a 25 million ringgit allocation immediately.
Fantastic, man. Unbelievable.
Microfinancing for farmers, and then they are willing to go up to 100 million ringgit.
Wow.
Prior to this, the farmers, they cannot. Even to agro bank, they have challenges and difficulties.
Sure.
Because banks are risk mitigators.
Yeah, of course.
We are working also with another bank who have an allocation of 2 billion ringgit under food security. But that's one example. But there's Satay Terra Grill somewhere in Langkawi. We have helped them to weather through this through certain programs. So there are many things that we do. The good news about the new BSP, Raymond and I think Danisha or something, these people, they understand the need to outreach what we are doing. And
but Rais, sorry, let me. I feel very frustrated when you say outreach, because, and I think I told you this when you first came in. We've not arguably had many conversations, but I said, for me as a journalist, it's frustrating that your annual reports have gone missing, right, for the last 6 years. And it's so easy for you to produce. A lot of university students used to do research, right? Because you got your annual report, they can do research and people get engaged with MDEC and digital economy. Right now, it's just a black hole. And I feel that that's one of the failures of your 1 year so far, that you have not been able to get the team to produce an annual report for at least last year. And there's no excuse to say it's a pandemic year. We have not much to show. Show us what you have done despite the challenges, right? Because again, you all are, nobody cut 50% salaries from MDEC. Hey, you cannot do your work properly, cut 50% salaries. No. So give us these things so it's measurable, it's transparent, a bit like what David Leo saying, so that we can measure things, right, and bite our teeth into it.
Actually, you'll be happy to know that is something that I already initiated. The annual report, just like the one that you have, the tax sector report in the UK, exactly that, and Raymond is working on it. And inshallah, we should be able to provide it. I will get the timeline when it'll be published, and I'll be very happy to share that with you. I think that is the important thing. It has been stopped for some time. Why? Again, why? I have not invented flux capacitor. So what I'm going to do now is going forward. So that particular suggestion of yours, G, I've already requested Raymond. And
It is not my suggestion. Many people want it to happen. So one more quick question, Rais. The biggest failure of MDEC to me, or it's a glaring gap, and this is from the time immemorial, is that when you talk about from Perlis to Sabah, right, or Lahad Datu, Perlis to Lahad Datu, right, the two furthest points. Why is there no MDEC satellite office in like Penang, logical places like Penang or Kuching or Johor, right, which are a bit more of and Melaka, which are the tech hubs a bit, right? And especially for you, that's a burden on you. You talk about inclusivity so much, and I don't think you spend 2 days in Penang. I'm going to Penang for 2 days, or Surina even, in Melaka, in Kuching. So why is that big disconnect? Is it that your people don't want to go there, or you and Surina don't want to go there, got nothing to do, or what? I don't know.
No, on the contrary, we have our satellite office through our partnerships. Each state has something called Digital Penang.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Digital Perak, all these guys. Sarawak, there's an equivalent. Sabah also, there's something equivalent. So what we do, instead of we blowing up our budget through more hiring, we work with them. So for instance, let me give you an example. I work very closely with the Digital Penang, and there are very not many staffs in them. So I work with them very, very closely, and you can ask him independently. And Digital Melaka, Srina was down there to present. And next week, I've been invited by the Johor MB to go down and talk about digitalization. And so we do that. And Sabah Sarawak as well. In fact, just before into this call, I was with another, they were shooting video, something on the employment and unemployment issues and so on. And prior to that, I was in a meeting, and we were talking exactly this. We want for instance, the mind width. There's some work in training and all that, right? I specifically say it must be from Perlis to Sabah. Why? Because we are Malaysia digital economy, not Kuala Lumpur, Selangor digital economy. And this is very clear. I've been telling this all this while. And sometimes when, like for instance, MyWit, again, Twitter, Facebook, social media, our Facebook, our web page. Now no more 37 web pages, satu saja. So everything is there. The one who apply is the usual West Coast lah, the Penang, the KL, the Melaka to a certain extent, and Johor. Yang blah blah lain ni, not really. They have not done it. So I said, okay,
that's bad.
If they have not done it, for instance, the number that was given just now was 101 people who have applied for underwriting. If they have not done it, maybe the next one, outreach to them. I don't know whether there's Kelantan, digital Kelantan or whatever. Go there, outreach, because sometimes the West Coast they're quite served, quite well served, and
feel entitled also, yeah.
Yeah, so we want Perlis too.
Of course.
I don't know whether you've been to this Pertubuhan Peladang Kuala Langat. I went there. It's a quite far off Banting, and that's where I saw this chili and rock melon, timon, and all that. Now I have urban farming in my house. I have chili, I have rock melon, all started coming out in polybags. So we go, we understand, we listen to them. Sometimes when you stay in a very air-conditioned environment with a suit and you're far remote from ground reality, and you think you know everything. The problem is it's not. You must go. When I went to see how they grow chili, then I understand why it became grade A, grade B, and grade C. So those kind of things, I mean, if I talk too much of chili, then again, Karamjit is
correct. You need to move on to other examples.
So that's why, and the program that's available, as I said just now, we have PEDAS. Unfortunately, sounds like chili, but it is not. It is not. It's not. So we have a program called PEDAS, which enables the rural consulting center to provide to the rural areas. We have e-Usahawan, e-Rezeki. We have the GLOW. GLOW. You don't need to be in KL. You don't have to be in Kuala Sipitang or Ulu Tiram. Wherever you can be, you can provide the services. And guess what? These have generated, I mean, when you talk about the punya income, for instance, the GLOW have generated about 232 million ringgit worth of income as reported by those people who are participating in it.
Didn't know that.
You see, that's where the annual report is important.
Yeah, of course.
And that's why I told our BSP, and they're working on it, on this particular annual report. But bear in mind, at the same time, there's something called firefighting. You know what's firefighting? The ministries will ask us to do this, ministries will ask us to do that. Each ministries have 3 or 4 meetings, and it's spread thin. Although I'm still big size, but spread thin in terms of resources. So what I'm trying to say is that we prioritize. We want to put people at the heart of everything. And Dulu, if you notice, there's a lot of that function, balloon and funfair, and like for instance, one of the PPRT functions I attended, and I told them, please reduce all this stuff, and maybe you can buy computers for them because they only have 20 computers for 1,200 people in that area.
Wow.
See, so let's do something that is meaningful, right?
Tangible, yeah.
Yeah, tangible. And of course, there are people who come, and some people come here and say that we have this particular program that can help the rural machis, but it will cost 60 million ringgit. So I listen because I know the person. I listen.
Okay.
But there's a standing order or standing instruction. Bank, you call it standing order or standing instruction, right? In MDEC. The two things that I said. The first thing that I said in my first speech to all the senior management staff was, this is my first time in my life I'm accepting 8,000 ringgit from people's money. And I shudder to think what I have to answer to God one day. And secondly, if anyone comes using my name, Rais Hussin, and say that I'm the distant cousin or cousin 7 times removed, or my father and his father was 3 cousins removed, give him curry puff, give him warm coffee, smile as you can, understand what they need, but when they leave, quadruple your due diligence. Because
Wow.
I will never send anyone. This is a standing instruction in MDEC.
Fantastic.
And some people, they come to my house too. So
Wow.
the first 30 minutes, they will establish the closeness in terms of relationship,
Rapport.
blood ties, this and that. So I will listen patiently. Then the next 30 minutes, because when you come to my house, I've already shifted house to Jelutong. So
okay.
when you come to the house, the gateway is the Enfield gateway, right? So you never walk along a gateway, right? So they will talk about Liverpool for 30 minutes because they know
Liverpool will never thank you for this. Don't be a fool, guys. Change team.
Liverpool etched in my heart. So they will talk about Liverpool for another 30 minutes. Then, by the way, sipping the third coffee, hey, MDEC is having this particular grant. I said, yes. We are related, and I was saying, you should help me, I say I help everyone, but I'm just telling you, you can go and use my name. You can say you've met me in my house and you spoke about 1 hour and all that. But the moment you say you met me, you use my name, your chances of getting the grant reduces by 4 times. So you better be careful if you want to use my name. They said, wow, you don't want to help me.
I love it.
I say, you are so arrogant. You don't want to help. It's not about help. It's not about not me. This is people's money. And, we are living in this world only for a short-term period. Eternally, we need to meet up with someone. I think the shining one, like Nigesh, will know what I'm talking about, right? So that's eternal, right? Eternal, forever. So I'm not going to be a poor investor. So I plead with them, please, everything is in our website. And if you're not clear, you can call something called Click, and they will appoint someone to help you. But again, you are free to use, in a democratic world, everything is democracy, right? So you're free to use, but please know your chances drops by 4 times.
Okay, Rais,
Right.
on that, I know Nigesh doesn't want me to ask any. I need to ask one more question, very important, which is the question that concerns people the most. Is that, and you mentioned a lot. You said yesterday or today you had a meeting with the chief strategy officer, and everyone feels that you are micromanaging and you're overshadowing the CEO, whether you mean to or not. And some people think you mean to. So, and I'm sure you're aware of that. That's happening. So, how are you trying to step back and give Surina the space to make some decisions that you may not agree with, but if she and her team have rationalized it, say, okay, you guys got to go try, because that is a big concern, especially among many senior ex-MDEC people, and many of them like what you're doing, right? You have shaken the 20-year machine, right? But this part is fundamentally also not right to do. So how do you address this?
So before you answer that, right, maybe just to add on to that question as well, to sort of wrap up, because we're already reaching 7 p.m. Is what are you looking forward to? So you're doing all this hard work that you're doing right now. I know Karam has been trying to punch holes in it all the way through, and he's also asked this question of the look forward. You're doing all this because you want to look forward to something, and you use this word agile, and someone in the comments actually brought that up. So also answering to Karam's question, what are you looking forward to once you're done with this process? You say that your hope is not to stay there for 2 years, but to pass on the baton. So what are you looking forward to for MDEC to do?
Okay. Looking forward is an easier question. I'll answer very quickly. But on the first question,
Micromanagement.
the non-executive executive chairman, ayo, this one is like a kuch hota hai story. Repeat. What I'm trying to say is that I'm not a curry puff chairman. When I first came in, I saw what I saw. I didn't know at all what is happening in MDEC. I came with a certain idea. When I saw what I saw, I said, wow. So we took the logical steps. And somebody have said, I can't remember, was it Gandhi or somebody, you want to change, be the change. You need to do that. But once that is done, now with the DAL is in place, a lot of decisions are made at what we call the Management Operating Council, MOC. They are empowered, all that is done. So there's not really the issue of micromanaging, but hand-holding a little bit here and there, maybe. But again, I said that I don't intend to stay 2 years. That is very clear. And I think personally, I think I should have done most of what needed to be done the next 2 to 3 months at max before the end of the year. And why I said that, once the digitalization is done, the CITO is in, and basically is there, right? So then the ministry have to look for a good chairman who can follow through to get it done. So that is where I would say my relationship with Surina is excellent. If anyone says to the contrary, I don't know. Maybe they are living in parallel universe. Surina has been under a lot of challenges, a lot of spotlight. I defend her like no other. And I think she's a good woman. I think she's a good leader. She was having a difficult times at that time because the limits of authority is such. There's a lot of restrictions on her. She may not necessarily have all the support of the board. But now you have a board that is aligned to do the positive changes. Hence that you see all these things that is happening. So I think we work together very well, Serena and I. Let me ask, do you think there's not going to be any differing views? Of course, there's going to be different views.
Of course, yeah.
You know,
And that's healthy.
Karamjit can have different teams within the English Premier League. Can you imagine? So what more differing views among on issues? So of course we will have some differing views, but we discuss it, we rationalize it, and bring it to the board if there's a board matter, and that's where it is. Of course, you will hear rumors here and there, TikTok here and there, and then that Agenda Daily here and there. But I was very disappointed that it's not talking about Rais absconded with 25 million ringgit or Rais had a sex scandal with somebody. It's more raunchy and more. They are talking about God. I mean, it's disappointing even on the scandal level. So so you see, they cannot find anything because I'm very particular about these things. Very, very particular about these things. So that's why they try to do this way, and they say 6 officers, all nonsense. And the company secretary, from external company secretary, we have decided to have internal company secretary as suggested and advised, recommended by KPMG.
Okay.
And because the COSEC have to be independent from the management, and COSEC reports to the board, so she's placed here. And suddenly she become an officer and the chair. A driver becomes an officer. An executive assistant become an officer. So these kind of things will continue by the people who have probably lost what they've been enjoying for some time now, and or they've left. But to me, it is okay. I mean, if there's no spice in life, what is that? Now, going to the shining one question, what I'm planning to do after this. Very simple, boss. I'm going into big time agri-tech uh, and agriculture. And I think when you have plants, plants don't talk or don't backbite, and they appreciate you. You talk to the plant. You know, rock melon. I was told in Japan, gee, you should ask this. In rock melon, the rock melon, they do not just massage the Kobe beef and all that. They even massage the rock melon, and they talk to the rock melon. So the rock melon become very, very tasty and everything. So there are many things that we can do after this. I am going to be 55 years old next year, and buy my own plan. This one executable plan, not plan but no plan. This is executable plan. So by 55, I should be teaching in a university pro bono without taking anything. But I developed a very, that's what I'm planning to do. Recently, I was appointed as a adjunct professor at the University Technology Malaysia as well. Maybe that's the stepping stone. So I promised them every month there'll be one lecture on 4IR and that. But having said that, this agriculture is becoming something that is moving me a lot. And with 60 billion ringgit net import in Malaysia, we are importing practically everything, from beef, from kangaroo, from God knows whatever else. Everything we are importing. Then chili, we are importing 60% of it. So we are not really self-sufficient. Our food security level is quite low. So there's a vast opportunity. And then you can also provide a lot of good employment and good returns. And a captive demand. You don't have to go and market it, over-market it, and so on. So, Nigesh, that is what I plan to do going forward, agri and teaching. And then I really hope, I'm very confident that MDEC is well poised. We have good, amazing talents. We have a good system in place. Once the digitalization has happened, then it should be autopilot, unless who comes and disturb I think the politicians should be left out. They shouldn't come in here. This is a very critical area. The politicians should be kept out from organizations like MDEC. Why? Because it is a critical, otherwise we'll end up becoming digital kunta kinte. We will lose. We lost the reference. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and then, but Rais, just quickly, when you say politicians should be left out, of course, some people accuse you of being a political appointee, right? Because you were formerly with Bersatu. So I just want to bring that up, because I can't let that slide, without saying anything.
No problem. You are. Remember, I agreed to an unscripted, so you can ask anything. Yes, so that's actually in 2015, I was a corporate guy. Gee, you know me for more than 27 years. I've been in corporate world. The 2015, the year Tan Sri Mohidin was sacked because of one MDB, that was the year I decided to be with him to help build a new party. And we founded the party. I founded the party together with the others. And we did what we did. The moment we won the election in GE14, you did not see me there anymore in politics. I'm no longer in the Supreme Council. I'm no longer an active political personality. However, I do have a think tank called MA Research. We do a lot of research. We do a lot of op-eds. I think yesterday we released the part 1 of the exit strategy for Malaysia. Today we released the part 2 of the exit strategy for Malaysia, focusing on education and national reconciliation. And tomorrow we'll release the third part, which is the economic recovery. So that I will continue, because as a Malaysian, I'm a Malaysian first, I'm a Malaysian second, I'm a Malaysian third. So that's very clear. And I'm not a politician, never was, never will be.
Okay. Right. So thanks, Rais. I have to say that you shared a lot. You shared a lot during this whole conversation. We were thinking we were only going to do 45 minutes, and it looks like we did 1 hour and 10 minutes with you. But thanks for sharing. One thing I'll say to you, your will to want to educate and also to get into teaching back, you're going to hear from me, because I'm very interested about what you said about that. There's something that I would like to talk to you about in future regarding that. The other thing is to all our listeners out there, and I know that I've been seeing the comments, I've been watching the comments, and I'm very sorry that we couldn't highlight the comments here. But later I'll ask Rais one quick question. But just want to take note or take stock of what was said today. And it seems that there's a lot of work that's going in the background. And Rais was very candid by saying that all the so-called mess that was there in the first place that needed to be cleaned up. And most of the time when leadership goes through that process, it's not the most glamorous process. No one's going to hear about it. No one's going to know about it. The hope that everyone has is once you get past this process, it leads on to better things. So I think for all of us listening out there, including me, my hope is the actions that you're taking right now will lead on to a lot more better MDEC for the community. And that's my hope. And I think that's the hope for everybody. And the one thing we need to do is also be patient, because you're saying that you're right at the end of the whole journey. And once that's done, we should start seeing the results come out on the other end. So take that as a takeaway for everybody out there who's been listening to the show today. And I just want to ask a quick question to you, Rais. There were some comments, a lot of comments that was coming out on the side, and some actually sent ahead of the show. If anybody wants to reach out to you and ask you something, what's the best way they can do that?
I think Karamjit G have just said just now. I respond to even Twitter. Recently, there was somebody sent and said something, and then I checked it out, and the problem was resolved. So it can be Twitter, it can be MDEC email, Rais. Is it Rais or Dr. Rais? I can't even remember that. Apa dia? Rais. Dr. Rais at mdec.com.my.
Right.
So those are the two, and that you can send. And I have a chairman MDEC Facebook. I receive a lot of comments sana juga. And sometimes, again, they erroneously equate me to being a politician. So they vent their anger on the politician with me. So they do not understand that I'm not a politician. But I reply to them as well. So I think the best way is the email address ataupun Twitter lah, kalau if there's anything that needed attention. And I do it. I actually attend to it.
All right, great. And what we'll do is we'll leave them in the comment section so that everyone can see, so that they can reach out to you if they have any questions. So on that note, Rais, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for spending all this time with us. Really very valuable to hear from you. And to everybody out there, I hope and thank you if you stayed all the way through for the whole show. Really, really thank you for that. And also to let everybody know that also not to forget some of the news we covered on Digital News Asia. Drop by, check out the news that is there. And also for, we didn't mention that this show is brought to you by Necole. So for organizations out there who are looking to go through either a transformational process or a skilling process, or even thinking about learning and engagement, do reach out to us at necole.tech. All right, so necole.tech, and we will get back to you with our team. All right, on that note, we're going to end with our usual end credit advertisement. And I was sort of, Roshan kind of slipped it to me, right, that you were originally from Penang. So we're going to... No?
Originally from Ipoh.
Ipoh.
Hey, same as me, man. Born in Ipoh, GH.
Yes.
All right.
I was born in Ipoh, the Kampar Road Hospital, the RSQ Chinese maternity ward.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay, so I've got to go and check with this Roshan where he got his information from. But anyway.
No, I think I know where. He equated Mama means Penang.
Alamak. Okay, never mind. On that spirit of we just said Penang anyway, we're going to end with this credit. It's a Hakka version of our Necole ads. Take care, everybody. This is Tech Talk Friday from Karam, Rais, and also myself. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.
Jackie 啊，你捌聽啲咧叫 app 叫 Necole 咯
？Necole 是什麼？
講嘛，嘅你看啲 Necole 你看，依家了後真正是 article、podcast、courses 啊。 我教你講啊，你愛變好命，你好命，
愛好命啊，爹哋
你愛趁女無？
吞這類咯。
啊，所以啊，你特別用 Nicole，做咩事？你讀了，你看誒 article 個了，你讀了，你變真高嘅，知無？
唔嘢無，
我看啲有年你看啲 article 看按照好命，按照趁這類，哇！呀，你睇。
你一日看好了嘛，就來就搞。
有啦，甲你講了嘛，你咪聽，當今你特別去看，特別看個了，
啊，你講你真高啦，
OK，好，你先好落來。